and welcome back to the LCS NACL. We're in playoffs, the last day of our week 1 here, and things have been so exciting. We've been waiting all split to get to this point, everything on the line. Some good stuff. I'm Sierradon, joined here with Angus and Pete Town Boulevard. How have things been? I mean, it's been an exciting week.
Yeah, we missed you earlier in the week on the broadcast, but happy you could be here to bid farewell to the 2 other teams that we'll be saying goodbye to today. It's sad that we're already at that point in the split, but there will be elimination on the line for our matches on this stream. And already the race for the provisional relegation tournament is looking pretty tight because AoE still in the running, Wildcard's still in the running, and both of the provisional teams here still in the running. So there's a chance that we don't have them all decided. Actually, they're guaranteed not decided, but there's a chance we have a couple of names in the race depending on how the games today go.
Right, and it's super important for these provisional teams how you place because of the fact that, like you said, AoE being still in the bracket is so important because if you end up in the same place as provisional teams, it becomes a head-to-head. And when we look at our affiliate teams, and we've already said goodbye to CLG Faith, sad, but you're hoping AoE, you need to do better than AoE, so you are AoE's biggest haters now as TLF and FlyF.
But the big thing is EGC also got eliminated yesterday, so the first Challengers team is already out of the tournament. That was also a surprise for a lot of us, so yeah, farewell to them as well. Do we have a guest cat behind Sierra? Oh my goodness, what is this?
Right on the chair.
The reason why I can't have nice things in life, that's what this is.
I always think about getting cats, and then, you know, I see stuff like that, and I think
that makes me want a cat beat. I don't know what you're talking about.
But see, think about, just think about it with me for a second, King. Come a little closer.
All right, I'm mind melding. Yep.
All right, cool. So the thing you need to picture with me right now, picture this with me.
White.
You're casting, and all of a sudden your cat unplugs your PC.
Oh.
Yeah.
To be fair, there's a high likelihood I do that myself because my wire management is terrible, and I'm embarrassed to show it, so I'm just not going to.
So are you going to really
knock monitors over with my feet on accident?
God. So there you go. You can't double up then because there's going to be you inting you, and there's the cat inting you.
There's other cat is standing by the soundboard right now, so if you lose me at any point, that's what's going on. But we'll talk a little bit about more of the cats later. They want to get on with the show. They want to see who's getting eliminated today. But we do have a couple of more wholesome, nice notes to be going on, as of course we get to end our week with some community tweets to see what everyone else is up to.
I thought you said nice note.
Yeah, just kidding. I should have. I didn't properly read the order of the tweets. I'm not gonna lie. So that one's on me. Sorry, Aaron.
But the important thing is the 2. It's not a 1. They picked up another win.
That was
they
actually
doubled their
crazy.
wins yesterday.
Okay, maybe the next one is a little bit more of a wholesome. Oh no.
Okay. Well,
What I want to pay attention to is the last part, Beat, because we've been talking about it, the qualifiers, the teams in the qualifiers. We haven't been fully convinced that any of them are at like a level above CLG Challengers. We've said maybe there's some that could compete with them, but we're not convinced right now that any are just heads and shoulders above. So I think that that's important to note at the end is that, hey, they took a game off a wild card, and now they're going into the relegation tournament after this bracket. So those teams cannot be sleeping on CLG Challengers, or CLG Faith. They have shown that they can pick up wins.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's really encouraging, if anything else, going into the promotion tournament, that they managed to beat a team like Wildcard at least once, even though Wildcard is slumping. And that's kind of the development we were hoping for, even if they got sent to the tournament.
Well, maybe the next one will be a little bit more of a higher note. I feel like we're scaling here.
Let's go!
Here we go, Perry. The all caps. We freaking reverse sweep GG, end the series 2-1. Let's go. I mean, great stuff coming out here.
This is going to be such a fun matchup between them and Cloud9 Challengers now, because Cincinnati Fear, every time I think, all right, this is the roadblock. All right, this is where they'll stumble. All right, this is where they cannot finally clutch it out. And they always clutch it out, and now Cloud9 Challengers, the #1 seed, favorited to win the tournament. If they take that upset, oh my, Twitter's going to explode from the amateur community in League of Legends. Like, nobody's going to be able to stop talking about this team.
That excitement is there, especially because when these teams met in the regular split, that's when we really got convinced Fear was the real deal. They split the series, and now we finally get that answer. Who would win in that full best of 3? So keep an eye out on that.
I appreciate too the link drop to the Twitch afterwards as
I'm
well.
streaming a
Like,
lot.
make sure to check out the stream, especially after playoffs, where you can give lots of subs and celebrate our victories. Haha, let's go. You know what? Respect. Next one though, as we're getting on the wholesome notes, the message a little more wholesome than the photo in this case.
You are next. When are they gonna do the Reaper walking down and knocking on the doors and like all the teams
If they
behind
beat
them?
Cloud9, they have to.
Yeah, that's they need to take a couple more teams out.
I thought it
first.
would have been out already.
Maybe. Well, maybe, approaching next week's matchup, we might see it. But I'm not surprised. Faisal has that Berserk profile picture, so he seems like he's more into the grimdark, we'll call it.
All right. And our fifth and final tweet that we're checking up on this week. Here we go.
Rodeo. Wait, I don't actually.
Because he was playing Rel.
Right, yep. And he had the insane engage. Yeah, that
And
was
literally
pretty
won them the
slick,
game.
Skytech.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, we said it. Engage is Skytech's meta. He said it in the interview. He's really happy that the support pool is kind of switched back to what he is best at, and it's been doing well for AoE so far.
He's got the hat backwards, too. That's how you know he's in gamer mode. When the hat's forward, you're like casual, and then you flip it around, and that's what Ash
Serious
Ketchum
mode.
does.
Yeah,
That's what Sylvester Stallone in the arm wrestling movie that no one else but me has seen does. I'm telling you, it works.
It's like the Crocs when you have the strap on top as opposed
Yeah.
to
Oh, yeah,
back when
and
you put them
what
in
do they
Same
call it?
energy.
sports
Turbo
mode.
Sports
Sports mode. Yeah.
Turbo mode.
I mean, going on through this split, there's definitely a couple of players who have their Crocs in sports mode doing some fantastic things out there. And of course, we always have to be looking at who our most valuable prospect is. Not ready to reveal that yet, but we do have an idea who our front runners are.
With the end of the regular season rapidly approaching, it's time for us to start talking about our most valuable prospect award. Remember, in order to be eligible, you need to have played at least 5 of the 7 weeks of the regular season. Additionally, the most valuable prospect is awarded to the player that we have faith will garner their team the most wins should they be promoted to LCS over the next calendar year and the year after that. However, Unforgiven is too good. It's disingenuous for us to call the LEC first All-Pro AD carry a prospect. In a developmental league, this guy is already developed. However, let's still talk about some of our other frontrunners.
All right, let's talk about MNS. He's still leading the league in solo kills and has shown in LCS that he's ready for that level. But that's the thing, he's already playing in LCS. The most valuable prospect is first and foremost a developmental award, so we made the decision to remove MNS from consideration due to his current role in LCS for Cloud9.
To no one's surprise, Mir has made a big splash in the LCS Challengers League and is one of our frontrunners for most valuable prospect. Mir is leading all junglers in gold difference at 15, along with XP difference at 15, and is also leading junglers in first blood percentage, as half of the first bloods that TL challengers have been through a Mir kill or assist, while he's only been the victim of one once. Mir's early game presence has been phenomenal. The game plans are sound with TLC, but also Mir's mechanics at later stages of the game have proven that he can be a jungler that is even someone to be feared in a meta that is not necessarily his, looking at what he's played in the past.
Masu came out of nowhere last summer, and despite it being his first split of competitive play, he showed great mechanics and confidence. This year, he's looking even better, going toe-to-toe with some of the best marksmen we have in Challengers League, while spending the majority of the split on 100+ ping. That nickname Wi-Fi Wizard was not a joke. Since physically joining FlyQuest Challengers, he's looking better than ever, and with the growth he's shown in this short amount of time, the next few years are looking bright for him.
My MVP frontrunner for the 2023 NACL Spring Split season is none other than 100 Thieves Challengers jungler Yukino. If you need stunning plays, a brilliant mind, and that improvement mindset that will take you to the top, this is your guy. He might be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but he'll come steal your lunch money.
Who'd we miss? Let us know on Twitter with hashtag NACL.
So little update in the Sierra household. As you can see, the lights in the background.
Oh, they're moving. Wait, what?
They're,
What's going on there?
He's a hungry boy. Sierra,
kitty.
have you fed him?
they get fed so much, and this is what I get instead. Causing
So
the
cute.
I don't think he's allowed to do that. Those are supposed to be hung up on the wall.
All right. How about we do the next bit while you go stop him from electrocuting himself? then?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to go over our rookie rosters here. This is something that we did where we drafted rosters of only rookie players. That means it's their first split in a semi-pro league. They couldn't have played in academy before, and they can't have played for a minor or major region before. This is my list. Lunasia, Yukino, Young, Masu, Trevor. It is the correct list. I'll take my award for best, most based list right now. And then we can all make fun of beatdowns after, because I think we're going to take a look at that next.
I mean, like, I don't even know how you could just go lying on the internet to all these kind people in Twitch chat saying that you have the best list. That's just simply not true. I mean, Lunasia has been pretty good. I mean, dude's crazy when it comes to the solo kills. But when we switch to mine, we're gonna see what true peak performance is gonna look like. And you may not like it, Kangas, but it's going to be true.
I kind of like Kangus's list though. This is gonna have to be fire. All right, beat down. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see.
All right, I'm going to call it right now. This team wins Worlds. Not now, but in like 5 years. Although Trevor might be in the retirement home by then, so we'll have to, give him his vitamins along the way. But I think we'll get there.
League of Legends have pulled people out of the retirement home before. All right, so it won't be the first.
I will say, before I get into why I'm correct, I'm really happy Trevor's getting a lot of nods because, I mean, Trevor is actually really good this year on Cincinnati Fear, and I just think he's
28-year-old grandpa in the league.
I found out he was 28 like the other day, and I was like, nice.
So, but it's been a common thing in the developmental scene that once you reach a certain age, people just stop taking shots on you. And Trevor's really proven that wrong in this split on a fully rookie roster, saying, hey, nah, I'm like one of the best supports in the league, and I'm a rookie, which is very impressive.
Yeah, a lot of praise there for Trevor. And I mean, Cincinnati Fear making appearances on everyone's roster makes a lot of sense. But this one, 3 out of 5 Fear players, I think that already makes mine the best list, considering how Fear are doing. I have Yukino and Masu just like you, Kangas. So, you know, my roster is basically yours, but better.
Wow, just pick 3 players from the 4th seeded team. Interesting.
Yeah, kind of Gigabraid, you know.
I mean, you know what? It definitely is a strategy. Because, if you're going to be just picking up, we're talking about rookie rosters too, the fact that this team that's now going to be facing off against Elite challengers in our bracket is just incredible. And the run that they've made, we've got to see them just consistently be leveling up throughout the split. And I mean, when we stop really looking at them like a provisional team and actually just a serious contender to go all the way in this thing, like, the list is pretty base.
I'm just going to say I'm the only one with the player that we're about to see today, because we do have matches ahead of us.
Damn!
Yeah, just saying.
That's a good point. You got me there.
But the matches that we're seeing today is going to be eliminations. So, like, is that really...
touche. Fair point, Sierra. Anyways, playoff bracket, guys. This is what we're dealing with so far. And like we were talking about, Cloud9, Cincinnati Fear, get hyped for that one. But that's not what today's about. Today is about, you look a little down towards basically that bottom left corner. That's where we are. FLYF versus Immortals. Team Liquid First versus CLGC. And if you haven't been watching this last couple days, first of all, how dare you? But second of all, you must be wondering, CLG Challengers, what are they doing down there?
We'll talk about that later during their match, of course, as to how they find themselves in that position. But I think that's the big head scratcher. And we will get to see them against TL First later in the day. I do still have them favored in that matchup. TSM really stepped up in their earlier best of 3.
They did.
But TLF was also stepping up, so it's like it's actually getting kind of close. But of course, FlyFam Immortals is the first one that we're going to get into.
Yeah, and FlyFam, as we're pulling up the rosters, I mean, looking right away, one of the players that we talked about, we got to see in the rookie roster. We have to talk about Lunasia to start, because Lunasia has just been a standout performer for a hot second now. So looking at FlyFam going into today's matches, like, I'm really looking at Lunasia and what he's able to do.
Oh, so this is the first time we've gotten photos of any of them, by the way.
I just realized that too, and I like the position as you get closer to the center where Blaza doesn't have a photo. It's like there's like I don't know how to explain it. It just looks really good. But the point is, Lunasia standout since day one. Dude has looked so good. And the thing too about FlyFam that is really important to bring up is that lately they've cleaned up a lot of the issues they have. Not perfectly, but we talked about the FlyFam moment, right? And how that's not as bad of a thing as it used to be, where they kind of struggle to close out in the mid game and it all falls apart.
So Lunasi is the player that we usually hype up with this team in the top lane. You see here, he has a really cool teleport play, gets a re-engage, and a double kill for himself. But the big highlight from the last BO3 that they had was actually the bot lane. I mean, if we look at Instinct and Sword in the bot lane, they're really stepping it up in their creativity and how they approach fights, and also just staying alive in fights way longer. Often before, they were just kind of dying too quickly and not positioning right. Moments like this, patience. We're starting to see that come through for them as Sword is just waiting to the last moment to finally go in. And then there's fights like this as well where they reposition. They're not like losing sight. They say, okay, start the objective. Never mind. Hoon's coming down. They've engaged on us. Just back off. Everyone's running away. I feel like FlyFam from earlier in the split would have just fought right there and been like, all right, we're going to take it. Like, just go for it. So it's cool to see that growth in these players.
They definitely understand their strengths a lot better now and how they should be playing out these team fights. And even though they lost against Dignitas, that first game, that's the best game they've had all split. I was actually really impressed with their gameplay.
Yeah.
It's nice to it's nice to see that they're leveling up and there's these improvements being made. My only worry though at this point is it might be a little bit too late because we are looking at elimination on the line, and to try and put themselves further in our bracket, they're going to be having to go up against Immortals. Of course, this is a team that have had their own struggles later, but I'm more so talking about a roster change heading right into playoffs.
That's a big thing. Yasui's in, but they lost Balulu to LCS, and now Yasui's coming to sub in very late in the season. And that can change a whole dynamic of a team.
Yeah, no matter how good a player is, I mean, you have to work on that synergy, those team plays. So, I mean, we really have to be looking into today. And even the past clips we have, Lulu, I feel like, was such a strong player. I mean, he's called up for a reason. So I feel like that definitely will be a player who's missed.
Right, and talking about the ones who are still here, though, when we look at Immortals Challengers as a whole, I mean, we talk about Joey being that player who's been around this level of play for quite a long time, and Skytech's not the only one who enjoys the meta shift. So does Joey, the engaged champs. Those are his specialty. He's able to find a lot of angles for Immortals in these team fights, and it's important because it's setups that Chad can follow up on as well, especially in that jungle meta where it is also about dive, going forward, which is what Immortals like to do.
There's a kind of a lost art almost in how we look at teams as who's the playmaker on the team. And I think Joey definitely falls in that category, but Yasui also does. And in their last best of 3, even though they lost that, Yasui had a really good Gragas game. And I think that if they're able to get Yasui on Playmaking Champions and Joey on Playmaking Champions, that is how I expect Immortals to try and approach this. They should be a very active team, especially with a jungler like Chad. I don't think that they're going to do as well in like a late scale type of style, even though FlyFam often struggle most in the mid to late game. So it's going to be a really interesting stylistic matchup here.
And we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to be hopping right into it. Our first game between Immortal Challengers and FlyFam. Take it away.
Let's do it. Thank you, Sierra. Beatdown! We're into this. The final 2 teams of Week 1 to get eliminated will happen today, and that means that everything's on the line. We're going to see, from my experience in past brackets, some scrappy gameplay, because often everyone is bringing their A game to these kinds of events and trying their absolute best to stay in these tournaments, and I think that both of these teams have arguments that they can go much deeper in the bracket than they currently have, despite the fact that FlyFam were 15th seed coming in. That's the second lowest ranked team. They have been leveling up, and they have shown that they can get wins.
I think we really need to put emphasis on how much FlyFam have improved. It's been a big deal for me in particular just because of the fact that we talk about early on, we kind of had the meme, the FlyFam moment. It was honestly true. And the fact that they have started cleaning up play in the bot lane, the fact that they've shored up their mid-game weaknesses, I think are things to be really happy about. Their team fighting has improved, as you pointed out in those clips, Kangas, and the fact that we're getting to this point in the game where Immortals, usually a team historically who level up. All of last year, they placed higher in playoffs than they did during the regular split when it was Academy. So now, this opportunity, exactly, where they have the opportunity to prove that, but they kind of struggled against FlyQuest Challengers. I mean, FlyQuest is that team where they're good, but still, it didn't look good for Immortals, so this is FlyFam's opening. But you have a thought. What is it?
Well, first off, I was going to say, I don't think, this is just off the dome, so I don't know if it's 100% correct, but I don't think Joey's ever been eliminated in round 1 of a bracket before. He always makes deeper runs than that. I can't at least remember a time when he had. But another point to make is that FlyFam are prioritizing the Gragas, which I think is good for 2 reasons. Blaze has shown the ability to pilot this to incredible effect, and they're taking it away from Yasui. So now Yasui's going back to the Annie, and to catch up on the rest of the bans, we had Olaf, Sion, Sejuani, mostly top lane bans from FlyFam, as Sejuani is now kind of getting pushed into that top lane role again. And Immortals Challengers is banning away the Lee Sin, Jax, and the Heimerdinger.
Right, and I mean, Annie and Gragas is probably going to be the handshake we'll see throughout the whole series, just because of how, important both of those champs are, but how much more powerful something like the Gragas is. So I like that priority from FlyFam. I agree. In Blaze's hands, it could do a lot of good work, but the flex potential is also a beautiful thing here. And I was going to say, Lux would be super bold into the early Blitzcrank, and I honestly don't like that pick unless you have some deep intel where like, oh, they're going to go Kate Lux or something along those lines. But yes, we see the Caitlyn hover. Even if that's locked in, the Braum, I think, is a good answer into what we're seeing so far.
I mean, it's very defensive. The anti-blitz is not going to have a fun time if they hit the Braum. Their goal is to hit something other than him. But I really hate it when teams will red one Annie and then lock in a support with it. It's like, you remove the whole threat of this being a flex pick, which I would love to see coaches utilize that more often. And at this level, we just rarely ever see that. So it is Annie mid. Blitzcrank with the Aphelios in the bot lane. So we see the bot laners, and presumably we see the mid laners. I mentioned before, the Gragas Annie. They do similar things, but the biggest difference is that Annie can do it a little earlier. She has her stun on her Q and her W if you're able to stack it up. So junglers can actually gank mid lane earlier than they traditionally could on the Gragas because he's got a body slam in. So it's a little easier to tell when he's going in for that engage. But again, similar concepts, right? AP bursts, big ultimates to have non-committal engage in fights.
Yeah, that's right. And another difference I want to highlight too is the Gragas has that exploding cask where yes, you can start fights and it's a lot of CC, but you can also break up fights. It's good for disengage as well, which is something I think FlyFam are going to rely on going into this series. And as we kind of look at the second rotation bans, I mean, Chad's Rengar is getting a lot of respect there. He is definitely not afraid to pull it out in scenarios like this. So I like that FlyFam are just like, we don't want to deal with it. Get it out of here. So
what's another Chad ban? I mean, like, if you're going for the Rengar, you're probably going to go for the Graves as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an R. Okay.
That's good, because Immortals, they're kind of lacking a full sort of front-to-back comp, which is what you need when you have something like the Aphelios. I think Gnar is a strong option that you take away. Renekton and Camille bans also kind of hint that that's what ADD wants to play, since he played it throughout that entire series previously too. So now you have other options here. Sion's out of the picture, so we're looking at maybe Cho'Gath. Ornn is a big one, but they actually say we're going to wait until the very end.
I think it makes sense to go give counterpick to top lane. You got to see what Lunacia is bringing, because Lunacia, if you give him counterpick, he will try his absolute hardest to solo kill you multiple times in lane. And the Viego matches Chad's playstyle. A lot of our junglers in the semi-pro scene, they're not known for their tank play. They're known for their carry play, and that's been a kind of an inhibitor in them making it to that next level. We haven't had many like Santorans where they can play both in recent memory. So the meta is definitely going to help out Chad here. We'll see if it helps out Hyper as well, because Hyper is one of the players that I actually think play the tanks very well. I actually do have a lot of faith in his tank play, but we're going to see the Cassante locked in first for Lunacia, blind, and there we go, Graves for Hyper instead, so still carry versus carry jungler.
Yeah, for sure. Hyper is a player who, even as far back as we look when he was in the Academy system at the time in 2021, he's a player who can put on the carry pants. And in this meta where, on this patch, remember, jungle camp give more gold now, so there's a lot more gold that you can earn for yourself with that farming style. And overall, you have that front to back composition you are looking for here. And with that lock-in, so do Immortals Challengers. I like the Malphite. I am a fan of the champion, especially currently when we see a lot of AD heavy junglers come through. Of course, it's good with the AD carries. And when you see Gragas on the other side, you're not worried as much about that magic damage coming through.
Sure, I suppose that this is a armor stacking tank. I wasn't
yes.
considering that initially. I grimaced when I saw it because I saw this as a clear Garen angle. I know Moosehater popularized it, but multiple other top laners at the pro level have been saying if there's a Cassante locked in blind, just pick the Garen. You're going to guarantee you beat it in lane.
That's
and
true.
it still can translate into the team fight. You have the Annie for the engage. You don't really need a big Malphite ult, but this gives them a second option for an engage. So ADD now can also start off fights if they need that extra follow-up or setup for the Annie.
Right, I like the call because especially in these scenarios when you're a struggling team or you're in this position where your back's against the wall. Remember, guys, this is the lower bracket. You only have 1 life left. Go for simple. Go for easy to execute. And ADD on this Malphite signifies that one perfectly because even if Joey doesn't get the pulls he's looking for, Yasui can go in, ADD can go in, and members like Instinct and Hyper are going to have to be very careful about how they position in fights.
Elimination on the line as Game 1 is underway for FlyFam versus Immortals Challengers. Let us know in chat who you're rooting for, who you think takes it. Spam FLYF for FlyFam and IMTC for Immortals. It sucks to end your season early and watch everybody else continue over the next 3 weeks in the playoff bracket. You'd love to pick up a win here, but losing means that, hey, you have a longer offseason, more time to improve, more time to look at your tape, more time to practice, also some time to rest. It's been a long season so far, even though it's been over very quickly.
Right, and for FlyFam, you don't get that rest if you lose the series here now. You're going to get sent to that promotion tournament, and you're going to be fighting for that chance to come back to the NACL in summer. So that's why it's so important for FlyFam to be able to overcome Immortals here this game. And I like that they're starting with this invade here. Wow, that's actually surprising just because of the Blitzcrank bot lane. I imagine Joey could actually interfere with this pretty easily if he pulls the buff.
Braum is one of the strongest level 1 champions in the game, so they're basically just utilizing that. And you have Graves on top of it, who, like, most of his early game damage is going to be in his auto attacks anyway. So a successful invade and steal from Hyper. I really like this look. It does mean that Chad will get a full clear top side. Well, we'll see if he goes for Krugs. He might actually pat down early and then miss out on his blue buff. Or maybe he gets the read, because Wixie and Joey were positioned as if they knew it was happening. But no, he's just heading down. It's kind of rough. Wixie and Joey could have stuck around and just checked in case it was being taken. And now Chad will walk in with the red buff. Maybe he can beat Hyper in the 1v1, but I'm not fully convinced.
Hyper is even pathing like he wants to walk up. In his mind, he thinks that Chad must be going on to his topside jungle, but it's looking like the information isn't there. So Chad misses out. There's an opportunity easily for Hyper to just clear his side, move up to the top side, and then continue that pressure on the bottom.
Oh, clutch hook right there.
Wow.
Instinct has to use the cleanse and the flash. Wow, Joey is so good at just curving these around the minions. That looked like it went right through that melee.
That's crazy. Yeah, even Instinct is probably surprised that that ends up hitting, and that early advantage you were hoping for, it's out of the picture now. Double sums down. Chad, once he makes his way bottom side, will have an opportunity to punish and further get Instinct out of this game. You see he already had to go for that early recall.
Lunacia should have known this was happening. Chad didn't have a bot camp to clear, so Lunacia with Ghost and no flash will fall. First blood to Chad.
And this always happens as a top laner. You gotta be careful. You don't take flash, you are vulnerable to ganks like this. And it's a good catch out there from ADD and Chad. It's gonna force that teleport out. And wow, Blaze. Yeah, he is not having the best time. It is ranged into melee, so we can expect that.
Smoke screen, Winter's Bite, Wixie in trouble. Does get to safety with the flash and the Ghost Burn, but 2 summoners, pull back on the sword, didn't get into turret range. Could have been a lot more there, but playing on the edge. Nice look from Hyper there. I want to go back to the top gank, though, because we see this a lot with the rookie top laners, especially Lunacia. Very solid if you leave him in the 1v1, but he has shown a tendency to be punishable if you focus his lane early, and I think Chad was doing his homework, realizing just that.
Yeah, Lunacia is a player who we've been very impressed with because of his ability to isolate win in the 1v1. And it's also important to note, too, because he's a very new player to the competitive scene. Very little experience. We didn't know much about him. So these are things that are coachable, learnable, and
you should be fine.
You're able to overcome. Yeah, he's fine. And I will say, too, Hyper showing up bot side was a really nice play. You get the summoners out of Wixie and Joey, but he's not fine. I might
They
be
can just
wrong.
go for the clear dive under here. Joey tanks 1, 2 shots. Chad, they
got
get the
him.
damage. Sword's alive, and they turn the play.
Okay, we got to talk about this, Kangas. The big thing there, I was looking at Sword. He didn't use the Unbreakable when he got pulled in. He just used the W and he walked away. He held it, and it paid off. He managed to be the big reason why that dive doesn't work, and now Instinct, who was under pressure early, gets a kill, and at this point, this is what you want as the Caitlyn and Braum. Now you have control back over this lane.
Suddenly, the bot lane is going to look very different, and also the jungle, too, because Chad's the one who goes down. That's time lost for the gank.
Yes.
You're not clearing your camps. You're not getting gold income, and that's a Graves. If you leave Graves alone in a jungle to farm up, he will get accelerated. Interesting to see, Hyper hasn't even backed yet. Chad had the Sheen during that dive. So Hyper's really just been power farming this entire time. Now we'll go for the first back as Joey's ramping around for a gank mid lane. Let's see if Blaze plays too far forward.
Got some good respect. I believe Joey crossed by a ward just because of the fact that you saw the pings coming through there, yeah. So he has good awareness, good use of vision, and it means Joey isn't going to be able to find it. 'Cause that's another thing we know Joey for. Finding plays, finding roams around the map, and hopefully Sword. Wait, everyone's
Joey
here.
Hex flashes over. Sword was not prepared. He was playing respectfully at first, but now might get punished, but he's so tanky. And with Yasui there to turn the play. Oh, FlyFam survive it. A double kill to Hyper. Yasui cannot get the kill, only hits 6 and does not have the damage through the Tibbers. Will stun and survive, but FlyFam, they set the bait. Immortals take it.
Wow, really nice catch out there from FlyFam, and this is what we praise them for. Their early game, it's usually so good, but even this is better than what we've seen all split long. They are just clearly ahead of the curve here against the Immortals Challengers. They're going to get that first dragon, and it's early enough that they can focus all their attention topside when it's Rift Herald time soon. Instinct getting that early BF sword as well, keeping pace with Wixie, means that this topside should go for FlyFam when the Herald pops up.
It looked good at first. I love the idea from Joey to Hex Flash over there. You just saw Sword walk by. He was playing safe, so you're not going to get the hook over the wall right away. But I still think you wait for the hook over the wall instead of going there. Sword was given a lot of respect. He didn't just clear because he was like, well, I saw the Blitzcrank path down river right then. I know he's going to be around the Dragon Pit. If I auto this, he's going to hook me. Backs away. Joey goes over the wall, and then Sword walked back to actually clear the ward. So if Joey had just stayed there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Still gets another hook onto Sword now. Yeah, you just can't be hooking the Braum. Like, he's not going to be the one to die in these 2v2s.
Exactly, and that's a good breakdown of the play too, Kangas. Fact is, Sword knew what Joey was looking for and what Blitzcrank players look for overall. So that's what made it such a great trap, and why this Braum pick overall is really smart, and why I was criticizing the early Blitzcrank pick, because I mean, you open yourself up to counters like this. I don't think Sword has played much Braum at all this split, but I mean, as a support player, experienced as he is, as he's been around the block as far as the semi-pro scene goes, of course he can play it, and you can see how well it's been going.
We might have a gank from a lane for Chad here. There's no wards to spot it out. Hook in onto Sword, level 4 still. Stand behind V, back to Instinct, and they absorb the gank. Doing just fine. FlyFam have played this early game so well.
And nothing Chad is going for is really panning out, except for the top gank onto Lunacia, but even there, he's even in farm. No return gank has come through, and Lunacia basically is perfectly fine. He has that wave in. The Herald I was talking about there is started up for FlyFam, and we're even seeing the first support move come there from Sword. He's going to get there a little sooner than Joey, but Immortals, they don't want to let this go without a fight.
Yeah, they do have the Malphite ult and the Annie ult. I think they got to focus on Hyper here. He's taking a little bit of damage. ADD goes in early. Hyper gets the objective. Stunned.
Nice
goes down. That's a kill to Chad. They have the resets now. Chad can pop off here. But they have a Braum in front. Now the shield is down. Sword's got to flash the wall. The chase continues. Hook on the Blaze. Immortals successfully win the fight afterwards, despite the Herald going to FlyFam.
Really nice follow-up there from Immortals, and the knock-up from ADD as well, buying time to make sure they can't smite the Herald and walk away. So they get that, and they get the kills. The saving grace for FlyFam is they have a Herald to play with. There's an opportunity to get it back on the map, especially towards that bot side. You set up a successful dive for Instinct and Sword, and you get Caitlyn turret place like she wants. That's how you break this game wide open.
I was criticizing the Malphite. I would have loved the Garen, but the Malphite actually worked out well there.
Yeah, it's the team play, yeah.
It's the team play. It's the engage. It's locking people down to buy time for others to arrive to the fight. Joey needed that time to get there to land the hook on the Blaze. If we don't have the Malphite into the Annie, that wouldn't happen. So Immortals are actually starting to come back here. We have an even gold state, but the Herald and the early Dragon went to FlyFam. So they're still in the driver's seat right now. Wherever they drop this Herald is where action will come next.
Right now is the key phrase there, Kangas, because when we get later into the game, if Immortals keep pace, they're going to be in a really good position and feel good about where they're at. This lead the invading Hyper is doing, he needs to keep this up, and they need to get value out of this Rift Herald so they can accelerate Instinct on this Caitlyn, because they need to keep their foot on the gas. They can't just let Immortals scale up to where this Aphelios will be game-changing.
Happy to see Hyper actually have that same read. He goes for an invade, takes away a camp, says, I'm strong right now.
Yep.
Let's make use of that. He's a late addition to FlyFam as well. If you remember, it was Goo, it was Maniac. Now
That's
Hyper's
right.
the third jungler for a provisional team that was 15th seed and only started to really come online once Hyper was on the roster. He's been a boon for this team.
He has that, plus whatever they've been doing over there on FlyFam's side to improve the way this team has been playing the game has just been some great stuff. And I mean, we say Yasui coming in as late as he has. FlyFam are part of a slew of teams here in the NACL who've had to deal with roster issues. And they're a team who is a bit late, but they've been dealing with it pretty well.
Can Hyper keep it up, though? I've been going for very late backs. I've been tracking that. Even on that invade, Chad had the Divine Sunder and he did not. But now he's got the Gore Drinker completed. So Hyper is powerful at this point in time. As the Herald, still needs to drop it. Looks like maybe a mid lane Herald drop. They have Blaze with ult available. You throw out the explosive cast onto Yasui. This could be the engage. Body slam forward into range. Yasui sees it coming, though, and just gives the Demo thumbs up, so it'll just be a Herald for a couple of plates. I would have liked more, but Dragon is up, so I guess that's going to be the play. And with resets from Immortals bot lane, they should get that if they start it now.
Stacking towards that Dragon Soul is also very important for FlyFam, so that's the priority that they go for here. But you're right, they're not starting it. They don't feel they've had that priority, especially... Actually, I'm honestly just really confused about it. No information on Chad and Joey must be what made them hesitant, because they don't have a lot of vision set up at the moment here. You can see it. It's actually all dark on that bottom side river, and because of Joey's Blitzcrank, they had to pay their respects.
Oh, Joey still has a ward there, and they get Sword. He can just jump over the wall with Stand Behind Me. Glacial Fissure as well. Good damage. Sword still alive through the stopwatch. Chad goes for the resets. Finds it. Wixie over the wall, but Blaze has the damage to take down Chad. Can Hyper survive? He does it. Wixie and Yasui, the 1-2 punch. And Wixie on Aphelios is a threat. Instinct, low mana, has to get out of this one. Does not have the safety of the net anymore, but does have Flash and gets out of that one. But Immortals Challengers find a big play.
A really nice one, too. I criticized the Blitzcrank, but Joey has been landing his hooks, and he's been landing the ones that count. Wixie picking up this kill is a brutal 1-2. Means Instinct no longer had that kill lead we saw earlier, and this Aphelios scales up to those nightmare hyper carry levels that we were alluding to. Immortals answering back, and then some, to everything FlyFam have been going for, and it means Wixie has earned himself more than one turret plate, because that crescendo makes taking turret plates so easy.
I love Wixie's arc so far. Not many 80 carries in the league would flash over the wall in those instances into a AP Gragas, into a Caitlyn, but goes for the play. Now we're setting up for the next Dragon. ADD is here, has joined in the fight. Lunasia is coming by. Chad's not near, though. The FlyFam actually have more members. Chad is in Narnia currently, and just farming up some camps. I think the team would have liked for you to be there at the objective. It looked like ADD was setting up for it, but Immortals not all on the same page. That's 2 dragons, not a FlyFam.
That's a good one for FlyFam, immediately rushing to the dragon because they had the information that Wixie hadn't backed with all the gold that he spent. He's still there, so the kill he earned isn't actually, and it hasn't been converted into stats. So FlyFam, they see him pushing in that final wave. Instinct already recalled and was walking back, and they say, whoa, we can do this one. Like, we can just rush this. We're gonna have Lunacia walk all the way down to guarantee we get it. And I think that was a really great call from FlyFam, actually.
I love how Rizzy's take of stage, bracket, knockout, elimination games. It's just advanced scrims. You know, none of those other things. It's basically still a scrim. You know, just throw advanced in the title. It makes it sound more official.
More
but this
official,
is
but
an
no
elimination
pressure.
match. Reminder for everybody, the loser of this best of 3 is out of the tournament.
That's right. And if you want to join the conversation, use the hashtag NACL on Twitter. We may feature your tweets on stream. You want us to comment on your tweets, tell them they're based or misplaced, you just go ahead and use that hashtag.
Hey, I like playing that game. It's a fun one.
Me too. It is fun. Cubby's playing it actually on the other stream. I gave him a take.
Oh, lovely. Actually, I gave him one too. Yeah.
Ooh, we'll talk about it later.
I'm sure we'll get to review some of the tape. Immortals are currently setting up for the Herald. And this is part of why I was confused why they didn't go for the Dragon play earlier. I felt like Chad just wasn't on the right timer for it, but they do have really powerful ults around these objectives, especially if they are there first. You mentioned the threat of a Blitzcrank from Fog of War. Well, they got that set up around the Herald right now.
Yep, I believe it's just Immortals underestimating FlyFam a little bit with that Dragon play, and it cost them. Now, not making the same mistake. Herald starts, they're going for it right away. There is a play here.
Oh, Joey
And
does
Hyper's
not realize he
looking
was
for-
spotted. Okay, now
man.
Hyper's spotted. Could get hooked by Joey right here. Sticking around for a while. Okay, gets out. It looked like there was a potential dive onto Yasui being set up, but FlyFam don't find it, so that's a free Herald for Immortals.
No answer back available to FlyFam, and now it's Immortals who have this ability to take turrets very swiftly. So I'm keeping my eye on Chad for these next couple of minutes to see where he's going to gank. Realistically, mid lane is a good one. Wherever Joey is, I'm looking for these two to sync up so that you can make use of the pull that Joey's been so good at so far here in this game. One, it's going to set up an easy play. It's going to set up a turret take, and you're going to accelerate the game the way FlyFam desperately need to.
Joey's hit some clutch hooks, and you know, maybe I'm being overly critical because Immortals are not in a rush to make things happen. You were highlighting that before. They do have scaling advantage with things like the FLYF, with things like the Viego. So there's an argument that, hey, that second dragon was not that important. They didn't need to go for it. And now with the Herald, they can try and get those scaling champions more gold through the... actually, I guess plates are gone, but a full turret would feel good. Joey, meanwhile, goes for an invade. Finds out Hyper. Sword throws out the Glacial Fissure. Doesn't land on anybody, but does keep Hyper alive.
As right at the edge there, if had they stayed on, they would have gotten knocked off. But nice reaction in support of FlyFam. Oh, Hyper, they're still here.
Oh, nice dodge there as Blaze could look to punish. They had the Blast Cone, but they didn't take it. Joey is still here, by the way.
Yeah, they
really
want to
wanna
keep
make
this
sure
vision.
that ward gets down.
Yeah, that's really important because they want control over this bottom side so that they can slow down the dragon stacking, because now they have a Herald. I imagine they're going to drop that mid and set themselves up for that next dragon, because yes, it's true, there was that chance they let that second one go, but now you don't want the soul to be going over there. That threat of the permanent buff there for FlyFam, they could make a lot of use out of even the Cloud Soul. That's going to be the setup I'm looking for Immortals, especially with Instinct. For the most part, he's just been hugging the turret here as he's waiting for his flash to come online, which it has.
I think FlyFam will get this turret. Yasui's coming in. He'll be spotted now. Does that mean that the back is stopped? No. We do see Hyper continue the back, complete it, because Blaze will get the turret on his own. So more gold into their pockets. We get the resets, 45 seconds till the dragon. So it's all about how many resources can we get, how much can we spend before an inevitable dragon fight.
Instinct hasn't recalled.
Uh-oh.
From what I've seen. Oh, wait a minute. Blaze does have flash.
Yeah, he's going to need to use it early. Actually, explosive cast. Tibbers can look to stop the body block. Teleport coming in here from Lunacia. Has to get out though. Oh, nice. Buffers the Blitzcrank hook. That was well done.
Yeah, really nice use of the Pathmaker. And Instinct not recalling, this tells me FlyFam aren't actually looking to contest this trade, because Instinct should be sitting on a nice chunk of gold, and the hope was just that you can farm, let this dragon go towards Immortals, and then you hopefully fight for that next one because you're not in that strong
flank.
position.
Nasi's looking for an engage right now. I mean, you're not positioned up here if you're not just trying to start the fight, but instead they go in onto the rest. ADD could be in trouble. Wixie gets pulled back through the all-out. Wixie's all alone! And Hyper will clear him up. Nicely set up from Lunacia to get the AD carry into a really rough position. And Immortals now, they got to find some way to enable Chad. He's the only damage dealer, but they're not going to look for it. They say, all right, that is third dragon over to FLYF.
And that's a bit of a preview of how FLYF can win this game even from behind. Lunacia, we talk about how a champ like Cassante is so good at basically kidnapping carries and isolating them away from their team. And Wixie not only lost both his summoners, still fell in the exchange. And a lot of pressure is going to continue to mount on Lunacia to keep looking for those angles. And even more so for ADD. I mean, you have to watch this Cassante. If Wixie gets taken out of these fights like that every time, Immortals are going to lose the game.
He had Flash, he had Ghost, used both of them, still goes down. The team needs to be marking Lunacia a little bit better. They had two people on him, but it didn't stop him.
Yeah.
He just barreled through them both and found Wixie. And now they do get a turret with the Herald, so Immortals are not out of it yet. They have even gold, but with Dragon Soul coming up in 4 minutes, 10 seconds. Immortals cannot have a setup like that last one. They need to contest that. Giving over Soul is never a fun idea, but they're just on the Baron on spawn.
They have vision control, Kangas. Remember, we talked about the danger of the Blitzcrank hooks. They sniff it out, but it's too late. That Baron is going to go to Immortals.
Wow, FLYF, a rookie roster very early in their competitive careers here, not realizing they left Baron up for long enough. 20 seconds is all it takes for an Aphelios and a Viego to take that thing down. So, yeah, that is nice look from Immortals, having all that vision control. Even if they have to back off, they're not losing much. There's nothing else on the map. They got no camps to clear. They got a bot wave shoving in, but they can catch that later. So I love that look. Wow, wow, Sierra. Okay.
That's pretty base. I'll take that. Thank you, Sierra.
No, I'm Minnesotan. It's as close as I could get, all right?
You're technically more north than we are, funny enough.
Wait, really?
On,
wait.
Because I'm in Toronto. Sierra's near-ish to Toronto. And it's
maybe
enough
parts of Minnesota. I don't know about Minneapolis.
Oh, it depends.
It
depends where Minneapolis is.
Yeah, Minneapolis is pretty south of Minnesota.
We'll
but
do
you know
the geography on that later.
Yeah, we'll check the line on the globe another time. Chad's going for an invade right now. Sword will sniff it out. It has been a game about vision beatdown. Especially this bot lane. Immortals have controlled top pretty well. Sword has been contesting bot this entire time. But as of right now, Immortals will have a big pocket to play through.
Will. And part of that is the threat of the Blitzcrank hook that FLYF have to constantly respect. But we're getting to a point where FLYF are giving away too much because of it. They need to clear out vision and get that vision line deeper. Otherwise, we're going to get to a point where objectives are impossible for them to contest. And it's super important because of that next dragon being the conversation we're looking towards here. The soul, everything FLYF have been playing for in this early game is about to come on in 2 minutes.
It's nice that they have the vision control for right now, but they want to get it and keep it over the next 2 minutes. It's about the Baron push. If they have all this vision choked out from FLYF, then there's no way the FLYF can go in for these flanks, so it enables them to walk up this Baron buff, trying to get as much gold as they possibly can before that dragon fight. Pulling in Sword is a good start. He's got the shield though, so it's alive for now. But Wixie's got the burst and actually sidesteps the ult from Blaze, so he gets hit into the wall, and now Blaze is in a world of hurt. Has a nice body slam onto 3 ADD underneath the turret. Instinct just does no damage to him, and Hyper cleaned up as well. Double kill to Chad. And Immortals Challengers, they are making full use of this Baron buff, pushing in the waves, taking a team fight. This could be an inhibitor.
It's going to be. They're going to knock on FlyQuest's door, knock it straight down, Kangas.
Are they going for
the
game?
Teleport. Wait, they still
might go
have
for
the
game.
Baron buff. They might be able to make it work.
I mean, this is ambitious. Instinct and Sword are up. We got 14 seconds on Blaze and Hyper.
Sui's TPing.
They don't do a lot of damage to these turrets, but they can keep that minion alive. Immortals Challengers are looking for the game end. They are not interested in the Dragon Soul fight. They want to close this one out right here, right now, and I think they're going to do it. Focus the Nexus. Do they have the damage? Oh, with they taken out Sword, I think they do. There's just no shot. Immortals Challengers got that killer instinct, baby, and they'll take game one.
That's the confidence we like to see from our Challengers teams, Kangas. I'm often watching games where even in these under 25 minute scenarios where teams are like, don't want to be ending the game just yet, but Immortals see their moment and they pounce.
The FlyFam moment happened. It just wasn't what I think me or FlyFam were expecting. Usually I can identify it, but a hook on a Braum under his tier 2 turret mid usually doesn't mean the game's gonna end.
Yeah.
But the fact that everyone from FlyFam piles in to try and back it up, turn the play in their favor, Blaze goes really deep there, and they get hard punished, lose the game off of that after playing a pretty solid first 20 minutes, but Immortals Challengers have that experience. They got that clutch factor that we talked about before. Now they're up 1-0 in the series. So we're going to send it to a short break here while we give the players time to rest and recuperate for game number 2. So don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.